Welcome back to the corner. It's me again, your boy Herschel J. Grandgent Jr., aka Herschel Jr., the voice. He loves you. He loves you not. He loves you. Or does he just want to smash? Man, the world of romance has shifted to a point where there really doesn't seem to be much romance left. My parents just celebrated 50 years of marriage. A marriage that survived the Vietnam War, 6 kids, financial challenges, and who knows what else simply because of a strong foundation. But nowadays, any hope of a similar foundation will most likely be compromised from the beginning, with everything from social media misbehavior to swiping right to random hookups to catfishing to flat-out deception and lies. It's just like Stevie said, love's in need of love today. How did we get here? When did it change? We'll probably never know, but we're going to have some fun talking about it. So stop what you're doing and meet me on the corner. All right, we're back. Welcome back to the corner. I'm here today with a special guest, Mr. Mike Mitchell. How you doing, sir?
Good to see you, my friend.
It's good to see you
Happy
too.
New Year to you.
It's Happy New Year to you as well. Michael, you've kind of making your name as a veritable relationship expert around the city of Atlanta. I just gave you a title.
I got work to do.
Yeah, but today we're going to talk about relationships. And I heard you mention on another show recently, and we're going to give a shout out to Gregory Russell, host of Street Life on
Shout out
on
Greg.
Real 1100 AM. Check him out on iHeartRadio or download the 1100 AM app. You said that back in the day, all we cared about was, is she going to let me hold her hand? You know, maybe I'll get a kiss. Maybe she'll go to the dance with me. But now it's all about the sex.
Yeah.
What do you think has happened? You know, people are like, forget romance, forget getting to know somebody. What do you think happened? What was the shift?
I think a lot of times we have to be more aware of the importance of courting someone. I think the definition of courting nowadays has taken a totally different turn from what it used to mean back in the day. When you actually courted someone, I may date myself now, but I'm 38 and I'm not that far
Still
removed.
a baby.
I'm not that far removed from, the traditional art of dating where, at that time you actually put forth an effort.
Right.
To get to know someone, and that's what courting usually meant, was you actually took time to get to know that individual and find out whether or not you guys have some compatibilities or not. So I think the number one thing is you have to get back to actually courting somebody and putting things out on the line that allows you to see that person for who they really are.
Right, because a lot of these young guys nowadays, it's like, we're going to have sex first. And if the sex works out, okay, then we'll talk about it. It's just like, what's the song? Like, if I hit it one time, I'm going to pipe her. If I hit it 2 times, then I like her.
Yeah.
What is that about? That's the craziest thing to me.
Well, nowadays you got to look at it this way too, brother. We live in a social media driven society now that gives full access to a person just at the click of a button. If you remember back when we would date, again, dating ourselves back, you actually had to take the time to sit back and talk to someone, develop a conversation,
Right.
Ask where you're from. Finding out if she's from Atlanta or from Baton Rouge or, what's her family pedigree, what's your likes, what do you like, chocolate or things like that. Nowadays, you can pretty much DM someone or you can type in someone's screen name
Right.
and scroll, and within 3 minutes, you have 5 years worth of intel.
Exactly.
Already.
Yeah.
So, just in that moment alone, you just have so many options that are there available.
Exactly. It's all about swiping. Was it right?
Swipe
Right is good, left is bad.
Well, I wouldn't know. But
I'm out of the
But yeah, absolutely. Double tap if you like it, and instantly you're in there.
Yeah, I heard
That's all you
there's
need.
super like and all that kind of stuff too.
I had no idea. I just found out about DM 2 years ago.
Oh wow.
I did not know what it meant to DM. They were like, he's always in my DMs. I'm like,
What is
what
a
did that
DM?
mean? What is a DM? I always remember if you like somebody, you reach out to them. Hey, how you doing?
Exactly. Now, like you make a phone call. And what? Oh, I was waiting on you to text me back. Like,
I got a
no,
niece.
I want to hear your voice.
I actually have a niece that's 24 years old, and she told me nowadays, you don't ask for a phone number no more. That's what's your username.
Yeah, exactly. What's your IG handle?
Just met you at the bar.
Yeah.
Look good. How you doing, sweetie? What's your username?
Yeah, here's my phone. Type it in.
There you go.
It's crazy. So how do you think we could fix it and start shifting it back to? I know things can't be as the way they used to be. I mean, with the flowers and candy all the time. But I mean, sometimes I know my wife. She still likes that old school stuff.
Absolutely.
And
She should.
I believe that if some of these younger women, if they were to actually experience that, they would like it too and demand it more. So what do you think we could do to get back to that, other than finding a way to help these young ladies know their worth?
Well, first, again, going back to what you talked about as far as worth, you have to go back to valuing yourself as an individual. So before you require someone to have before you require someone to have a certain standard or an expectation, you have to be walking in that same direction first. So I think it starts with confidence.
Exactly, because I mean, you're gonna get whatever you put out there,
Exactly.
even non-verbally. Whatever you put out in the atmosphere, that's what you're gonna attract.
Exactly, laws of physics. Whatever you put out in the atmosphere will come back to you. So it starts with confidence in my mind. I think that first you have to define yourself, especially just speaking as men. You have to define yourself. You have to develop your own ideology. You have to develop your own beliefs, your own likes and your own strengths. And the weaknesses that you have to try to at least be normal in the weaknesses that you have. So if it's communication that you have that you struggle in, first thing you have to get back to strengthening those things.
Right.
So
yeah, because it's not just millennials. People always say millennials, all they care about is social media, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, but every age group, every ethnicity now has its own. There's our time for older folks. I mean, there's farmers meet.
Farmers.com. Yeah, Christian Mingle.
Right, Christian Mingle, Black People Meet. I mean, so I mean, it's not just millennials. So I mean, what do we do? What do you think we can do to get people out of this microwave mentality where you get everything instantly? What can we do to get back to? Because I was talking about earlier about my parents just celebrated 50 years, and they laid a foundation, and everything wasn't always roses, but they found a way to never give up on each other. And so many young people now, when something happens, that's it. I want a divorce.
So easy. It's so easy to walk away.
Yeah. So I mean, what can we do to get back to that foundation? What do you think?
I think one good thing we have to do is we have to realize that a lot of the things that our parents did back in the day, those are actually things that are considered not normal anymore.
Right.
So we have to get back to actually desiring those things that we may not even have any idea of. So for example, when we talk about chivalry or we talk about, again, courting, those things look they look abnormal.
Right. They're not
to
normal.
Men and women now. You have the women that are more aggressive than the man nowadays. So you actually have to get back to allowing yourself to be a man and allowing that woman to be a woman. But with that, it comes a responsibility. So as a man, we got to get back to actually courting. We have to get back to dating the woman.
Right.
Chivalry is where I start at first. First date, let's say you got a first date. You actually have to do things like when you first pull up. Nowadays, we live in a social media where you can't really go and pick a woman up nowadays.
Right.
That probably has ran its course.
Yeah.
Where you used to actually have to go pick a woman up.
Right.
So
like,
nowadays,
I'll meet you here.
Yeah, I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
But it still goes to where first date, I used to buy a gift. Small gift. It doesn't have to be anything very expensive, but it was just something acknowledging her or her effort. So it would be something like a rose. It would be something, just those things that get back to the basics to start a foundation and say, hey, I don't know anything about you. You don't know anything about me, but I'm starting here. Now we have to be careful because those things, I believe, may look, again, abnormal, but it has to be something that the parents, the elders, the people in the village actually talk about, and it has to be something that's pushed and ingrained in them.
Right.
I think you have to sow that into this younger generation to let them know that it's not abnormal for a guy to hold your hand or open the door for you. I see a lot of times women open the door. Right.
And I was going to say that because I mean sometimes that first love can destroy you for life and mess it up for the rest of the women that you come in contact with. And so I hear a lot of young guys say they want to be independent so bad, so let them be independent. They want this. Well, let her get it on her own. Why do I need to do this and make a fool of myself? And it's probably because of some past hurts. So what do you think are ways that we can empower, because you have 2 sons, correct?
Three.
Okay, 3 sons. I have a son, you know, and I've taught him all about, you know, he knows, his mom knows to not even touch a doorknob, you know.
Absolutely.
When his mom wants the door, he'll open the door for her. So what do we do to try to empower these young guys to understand that, you know, she's not gonna turn around and throw it back at you and make it a bad thing if you treat her like a queen, you know?
Yeah. Well, the thing that I was taught is that, again, going back to valuing yourself as a man. When I was young, you know, my grandfather, my uncle, the men in the community, they tried to sow that into you as far as valuing yourself, again, your ideology, showing you things, because you can't go out here in society and just think you can do it all by yourself and you don't know anything.
Right.
So you actually have to see images, and you have to see men that are actually walking in that type. And if you go back to the 80s, the 90s, and even back, I don't know how old you are, brother, let you know.
I'm
but
put about 10 years on your age.
But you know, back in those generations, you saw men actually being able to display what you were looking into. You see a lot of men on the corner. You see men at the restaurants. You see them opening the doors and things like that. So they sold those things into the men. So first, it starts with valuing yourself and understanding that when you go, or when you come around women, you now are on display. It's just you. And you have to be confident enough to know that when you're around these women, I'm going to show you what my qualities are.
Right.
I'm not just going to be all talk. I'm going to actually show you through my actions.
Exactly.
A lot of these guys nowadays is all talk, no bark.
That's it.
You know, it's just all talk about what I can do. When in reality, you have not even seen that example that you're trying to live up to in your own household.
Right.
So I think we have to get back to sowing this into the young men, showing them that you are going to be the ones that are representing the future.
Yeah, and because nobody's teaching these things. I mean, I got 2 daughters, and both of them have told me some stories about, you know, or just what I was just saying. If they hit it one time, I'm gonna like her, blah blah blah. You know, so, and that's their whole mentality. So I mean, we really need to find a way to snatch some of these young guys up and teach them some things. So we're gonna move on to marriage now. According to just about every study that you come across, you know, the rates of marriage is dropping. People are not really seeing it as a viable goal, because some people just see it really as a business decision. So what do you think? I can't see the doggone thing. I'm just laying on front right now. Do you think it's people want the option of being able to walk away? I mean, that's the way I see it. I think a lot of people see it that way. Like, because if you're married, even if I wanted to walk away from my wife, well, hold on a second now. You got that boy in there.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on a second. Y'all bought this together. Oh, y'all bought this together.
Yeah.
So you can't just walk away. But nowadays, people are just being in long-term relationships.
Correct.
And not tying a knot because they want the option to walk away.
Well, I think that also is one of the biggest factors as to why divorce is at the level it is as far as divorce rates. It's too many options.
Right.
When you get married, you have to understand exactly what you signed up for. And what I mean by that, I'm divorced, but walking into that marriage, I was well aware of what I signed up for, and I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to meet that obligation as a husband. Unfortunately, things happen. But nowadays, you go into these marriages now almost where the person is dating the potential.
Right.
Or they married the potential without dating the person or marrying the person. So once you get in, it's almost like, wait a minute. You mean I can't go home tonight when we fall out?
Right.
You mean I can't go to my apartment? It's like, no, you cannot. You know, as a wife or as a husband, you have an obligation now for us to sow this into each other as far as communication, which should have been the first part.
Exactly. Yeah.
But now a lot of times we get married so fast, and again, that's what social media does. Social media puts everything ahead.
It puts all the good stuff.
All the good stuff ahead,
so,
and by
so
the
you don't realize. Well, wait a minute, he smells like that in the bathroom. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, he does that. So
and that's a lot of times. Nowadays you have people now that will say it's more important for you to move in with someone before you get married, and that is one of the biggest things. Is because when you marry somebody nowadays, you had no idea of who you were marrying. You know, you didn't realize that he peed on the toilet seat and then wiped it up. You know, you didn't realize that, you know, her closet would be a wreck and it would become your problem, those things. So, you know, marriage has to be something, man, you know, seriously, that we have to value again.
Right, yeah.
I don't think that people really value marriage. They see all the negativity that comes with it, and that's something to really seriously be worried about.
It is.
Yeah. It's something to think about, because there is such a financial risk that you take.
Yeah, I mean, it is a business decision from that standpoint, because you do have commingled property, commingled finances and things.
You can't just walk away. You can't just walk away. And I tell people, you have to treat marriage like it's a business, with all due respect to it, and not to disparage marriage, but you have to treat it like a marriage. There's a reason why you get your marriage certificate in the same place you get a business license.
Right.
Because it's a
same window, yeah.
It's a business. The government wants to know how to tax you. They want
Exactly.
to know, we're going to put you in the same pool so that we can, you know, find a way to get money out of you. Now, how y'all choose to police your marriage, that's up to you.
That's
So,
it.
yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day, he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
All right, we're back and we're finishing up with Mike Mitchell, my man. So we're going to talk about, now we're going to talk about communication.
Absolutely.
You know, that's key. It's just so key. But I mean, it's now taking on a different tone with social media. I mean, now whenever somebody's wife gets mad at them, you know, she goes out and puts it in her status update. What do you think should be the shift in terms of like bringing it back to where we keep everything in house? You know, because I was always taught, you know, whatever goes on in your house stays in your house. So how can we get that out there to change this narrative?
I think it starts with respect first. I think that when you're in a relationship with someone, you have to value that person and you have to respect that person's image outside your house. So when we talk about going to social media immediately after an argument or a disagreement, what you're doing is also taking your marriage and allowing society to dictate how you exactly. So, you know, if you have a wife, your wife did something you didn't like, or, you know, your husband did something, if you turn around and put all of that out on social media, everybody's actually coming and may actually know about the situation before your spouse does.
Right.
And so we have to look at how disrespectful that is, because nothing is worse than a woman coming home, has no idea the severity of the disagreement they had over the phone, but because her homegirl texted her and is letting her know, well, he done already...
Did you see what he said?
He done already cut you one.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it may not... This is what I don't like about social media is... You remember in the rap game how you had the rap beefs? Nowadays, the rap beefs, they actually call the rapper's name out. You know who it is.
There's
Back
no ambiguity whatsoever.
Back in the old days with LL, KRS-One, it was more subliminal. Nowadays, and you will have on social media, they may not actually say the person's name, but it leaves it so open that you're like, okay, you clearly are talking about me because we just had this conversation on the phone, but that person gets to kind of slide back cowardly, in my opinion, to where, you know, I wasn't talking about you. Yes, you were. You were talking directly about us. So I think that is very disrespectful.
Yeah, and it's something like that as a younger man before social media. I remember I had a disagreement with my wife one time, and somebody was like, hey man, what's wrong with you? Man, my wife getting on my goddamn nerves. You know, and she's like, well, why would you do that? You know, without talking to me. Now everybody think that we having a big old argument. You know, so it was a learning moment for me then. So it's the same kind of thing with social media. They say, what was it, like count 10 seconds before you hit send or something like that.
I was told 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
2 minutes. If 2 minutes, wait 2 minutes. If you still feel the same way about it, then send it and deal with it. But if not, if you done already calmed down, you ain't pissed off, you ain't ready to punch a wall no more, then, you know, just let it go. Yeah. But what social media has also done nowadays, it's replaced the conversation that you know how they used to say if you get into it with your lady or your man and they say, well, go for a walk or call Herschel.
Right.
Go talk to your homeboy at the bar. Social media has replaced that.
Sure has, yeah. You don't have to leave your couch.
You don't even have to call nobody no more. You don't have to say, hey, Herschel, what's going on, brother? You know, hey, let me come holler at you.
Right.
You know, man,
Yeah.
my lady, man, I'm about ready to throw it through a window, you know, or something.
Right.
You know, you don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
Now,
we don't just go out on the deck and have a beer and smoke a cigar and just talk it out. Yeah,
go
like
to the
you said.
gym, punch the
Right.
bag. I actually have inboxed some of my friends that have put some on social media.
Yeah, I've done that too.
I'm that
Yeah.
man. We need more men like that. Where I've actually reached out. One of my buddies was going through a very bad divorce. I mean, and he was putting it front and center. I mean, calling out a name, putting all the business out there too. I inboxed him and I was like, brother, take that off.
Yeah.
For the sake of your marriage, for the respect of your wife. I know you mad.
Yeah.
I know you felt like she did something to you, whatever the case may be, because I didn't know, but I know because you're putting it out there.
Right.
I was like, brother,
And
take
at some point, that woman was your queen, somebody that you
got
deeply
4
respected.
kids.
Right.
You can't sit here
That's
and
your
tell
mother's,
me.
Yeah, children's mother. Yeah, so definitely you gotta.
I said,
dial
brother,
that back.
exactly. I was like, take it down. And he fought it out and everything. He took it down, called me later on, and he was like, hey, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you need people like that. Ladies need that wing. Is it wing woman? Because we say wing man.
Right.
Is
What
it
is it?
co-pilot?
Mama producer. What is it? Was it wing woman? My roadie. What is it? What do y'all call your ride or
The
die?
ride or die.
Ride or
We call
die
it we call it a wing man. You know, you need a wing man that's gonna be able to reel you back in. Be able to say, look, don't do it. You can't afford to lose out on this.
Right.
You know, and that may actually save your marriage. Let alone if your marriage is already going to hell. But it may actually save your marriage.
Exactly.
You know, we need brothers like that, man.
Do indeed. Well, Michael, brother.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you being with us today, and I
hey.
appreciate all of y'all. If people want to get in touch with you on social media, how would they do that?
You can reach me on Instagram at Roll Tide Mitchell. I'm not really sure what that is.
I'm just gonna sit there
But,
right there.
You can reach me at Roll Tide Mitchell on Instagram. You can just search me on Facebook at Mike Mitchell. If you pull up Michael Mitchell, you're gonna pull up my pops.
And once again, for the cast and crew here at the corner, I want to thank y'all. I am Herschel Jr., the voice, and I will see you next time.